when we're inundated with the shadows and the dense frequencies of the human consciousness and the unconscious, and that's all we're seeing is that shadow coming up and to the light, we might forget what we're doing here. We might forget who we are. We might get lost in that shadow and start to get mired in it. And so how do we break free? How do we transmute, alchemize, bring love to everything that we're witnessing? How do we actually change this dream of the planet? Today we have beautiful John Stringer with us, who is a life teacher and a songwriter and a healer and just so many beautiful gifts that he brings to the world. And I welcome you to join us as we have a conversation about navigating these times with love. Join us to find out more.
Soul Nectar Show, the Soul Nectar Show. You're invited, delighted to discover who you are. Anything is possible if you believe. So join us on this beautiful journey. Soul Nectar Show. Soul Nectar Show. Soul Nectar Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Nectar Show, that show where we talk about all things essence, where we gather around the campfire and we share our stories of connection to that which is greater than us, to the big mystery beyond the veil, to those synchronistic moments that lead us inexorably to a new understanding of ourselves and the world and consciousness. And I'm your host, Kerri Hummingbird, and I love having these conversations week after week and bringing you new guests, new voices, new perspectives, new energies to infuse you on your journey. And we're in some interesting times right now. These are interesting times for us to learn and grow and expand through. And you might be feeling a lot of different ways. You might be feeling tired. You might be feeling like, what is going on here? You might be really questioning things. You might be feeling excitement. You might be seeing some potential start to open up. You might be excited about what comes next. And you might be feeling all of that in pretty much the same minute. So you could be feeling a lot in a really short span of time. And it's a lot to navigate. And there's all these different, if we slow down and we just get into that meditative, contemplative space and we start looking at what the beliefs are that seem to make things so hard, and we start to unpack those, and then we get to shift those beliefs, then what happens is something new opens up. And I'm not talking about like mental beliefs. I'm talking more like ancestral beliefs, like really, really deeply held remembrances and history. And you feel that in your DNA. And it can cause you to, without even realizing it in your current body today, have a reaction to things that you're seeing. And so how can we heal? How can we bring healing to those things at a deep level, like all the way down in the DNA, and bring a new agreement in that creates some new potentials and lightens the load so that we can actually be back in our innocence. And so I'm excited to have some conversation with my friend John Stringer. Welcome, John. I'm so glad you're here with us today.
Thank you, dear sister. Grateful to be here.
Yeah, I've known John for a couple of years. It seems like forever. I've probably known you a long time, well beyond this lifetime. But John Stringer is a life teacher, a speaker. He's a Billboard charting singer-songwriter and a healer, and an award-winning international best-selling author with a passion for music and community and expansion and limitless love and light. He's also a graduate of Morehouse College, which is new, so really excited. I got to witness that. That was so cool. and is with his partner Kathy, does so many beautiful offerings for the communities that they serve, and definitely here to spread light and love and higher vibrations while facing our shadows, while not bypassing the unconscious that we need to bring into the light so we can look and see what patterns have gotten set into motion that need a little rewiring to make things a lot more graceful. Yeah. And
Mm.
so I'm so excited to have you here. I know that you teach people how to write their own songs and how to open up their hearts to tap into that creative
Mm.
essence. And I've seen some people flourish with that, dear friends of mine. And it's really beautiful, the gift that you bring. I'm so grateful for you saying yes to being on here. And we're in a series together. We're in the
Right.
how to navigate the clickety clack.
Right. Yeah, man. That was so fun, wasn't it?
It was.
But
It's out on some television stations now, whatever they are,
it's up
somewhere
to
out there.
18 awards. Woohoo.
18 awards. Yeah. So go look it up, see where it's playing.
Yeah.
But how do you respond to what came through to me today? Because I mean, I sat in ceremony last night with myself and my husband and with spirit and just really listened deeply. And I felt this ancestral presence that felt like really tired, like gosh. And what came through is kind of this almost agitated in a way, but just really just exhausted. All you gotta do is love each other. It's that simple. Like so aggravated that it's so complicated and all of this stuff is going on,
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
like, when are we gonna get it? You
that's
know?
I loved as you were talking the lyrics for a song that wrote in Costa Rica with 21 people. We all just tuned in and brought the lyrics through. And the chorus goes, dancing in love in the shadows of our soul. And when we're inside, that's where we find the gold. We're dancing in love in the shadows of our soul, and we are brave. Yes, we are bravely taking flight. And so it is. Amen.
It's so true. I love that.
So I feel like these times for some are remembering to dance in the love and to remember it's all designed for those who choose to deepen in that love and what that looks like. I think that's where it's often subtle. You know what I'm saying? Like, give you an example. When I tune in align and surrender, I often hear all is well and always is. So anything that's convincing me otherwise isn't really in alignment with the divine knowing that all is well and always is, right? So then I can identify, okay, what's coming up that's not in alignment with that, expanding my awareness to that. That's where I can stop investing my belief. And then if I can uncouple and release that pattern or that coding and stop investing my belief, then I can stop informing the quality of my experience based on that belief, that thought. Because the quality of that thinking is what's informing the quality of my experience, right? Like how I'm seeing the world, how am I experiencing this now moment, the energy, the feeling, the thoughts about the past, the present, the future, all of it. That's informing the quality of this now experience, right? So if I can see where that is out of alignment from all is well and always is, I can let it go, stop investing belief in it, and I can bring my experience in alignment with all is well and always is. Because when I tune into love and I tune into this higher knowing, that's what it's reminding me. And it's helping me see that love is, love has a right to create more, the appearance of polarity, the appearance of more than one, in other words, even though there's only oneness, right? It has its right to do that, and it's doing it for its own sake. And as an extension of love, if I can come into harmony with all is well and always is, then I can receive and accept it all without creating the experience of suffering. However, the key becomes that awareness of seeing where am I out of alignment with that principle or with that knowing. And it often takes surrendering to that love or to that higher level and often subtle level of consciousness to show me where I'm out of alignment, out of sync. And that's what I've been finding is so freaking subtle. I mean, it's almost trippy. I was cracking up yesterday because I was like, wow, even something as simple as I need to work out more can activate a quality of experience of lack and suffering because I got to go get something I don't have. And it's a firm belief. I'm out of shape and there is a state of physicality I want to be in, but I'm investing a belief in this lack that all is not well. Now, it's different to look at my body and be like, I'm grateful for this body, even though it's aging, even though it doesn't look like I used to look. I'm so thankful for it and how it's functioning, and I want to take care of it and give it love, and I send it love now, and I want to even imagine it functioning at its highest place, and then moving from this place of I have and moving into, ooh, I'll take it to the gym and do some cool things and enjoy versus I don't have and I'm trying to get. You know what I'm saying? That subtle quality of thinking and state of inner being is the difference between suffering and fulfillment, right? Vibrational fulfillment, even though it's the same action, I'm going to the gym, but a different quality of experience. So it's that kind of subtle interaction in our, just experience of what's happening now, what's happening in our awareness and in our bodies. And usually it's like how we're seeing the external is how we're dealing with the internal. Like if we're seeing chaos and threat and this, that, and the other, we're probably experiencing that internally, physically, emotionally, physiologically, whatever the words are, as well. So if we can uncouple that pattern internally, we can start doing the same externally, or sometimes it works in reverse where we see the external as the reflection and we start doing the healing work to begin to accept and see perfection, and then we can bring that internally. So it can work either way. So that's what I've been experiencing and doing, and just uncoupling the way I see life as, do I trust life fully? Do I really believe there's lessons here for me to become a true expression of that divine love that knows all is well and always is? And if so, then where are my growing opportunities to let go of stuff? Not to necessarily, get something I don't have, but to get the stuff out of the way that's blocking me from expressing what is there, these beliefs. And like you said, the ancestral stuff and some of our, I believe, ancestors are waiting for us to remember that we are the divine expressions of their will and their desires and their dreams. We're that already, and they're like waiting for us to wake up to the freaking beauty and perfection of where we are now and the infinite opportunity to express, like, look, we were dreaming of this day that you would be what you're doing now. Wake up. So
Yeah. And that gratitude for it as well.
yes.
I can find myself in some complaint, because my my astrology is connected very much to Scorpio in the 12th house. And so I have just tapped into the collective consciousness and I really feel it all, right? And so like this new moon has been really, well, all of it has been really interesting to navigate, right? And at some level, it's kind of like I've been given this opportunity to be a witness in a deeper way, like through my body, through my experience, witnessing, what's happening in the collective level so that I can bring love to it, bring coherence to it through that connection to Mother Earth that I maintain through my body. And that's a really big gift. And it requires a lot of discernment. And so this really applies to anybody who's empathic, because you've got a really important role, is to feel it all and but not get lost in it. Now that's the difficult thing, because if you're one of the ones who walk in the night, and I mean in the the subconscious, the unconscious, in order to be a witness to what's in there so that it can be brought to the light, you can get lost in there. You really can. It's like you could forget the light, you could forget who you are. And that's why we need others that are doing different roles, that are maintaining that high frequency and coming to join us and saying, remember, don't forget, we know you're over there in the dark. We love you. You're doing great work. We appreciate you.
That's it. I love your analogy, because it's like deep diving. What's the thing that keeps you conscious when you're deep diving? Keeps you, you got your suit on and you got that oxygen line and the different things. It's like a lot of times we do that deep diving and it's easy to forget to take the oxygen line. To me, the oxygen line is that alignment with source, that ability to bring in the higher level of consciousness to the depths, because it's almost as if when we're and I love that you brought it up, because it is necessary when we're doing healing work to bring presence to these lower levels of consciousness. People think that we're trying to just get rid of them. No. You're integrating.
I've asked God about that, and I was like, no, we're not leaving it. It's like kind of like No Child Left Behind thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I've tried. I'm like, but wolf pups, when they have one that dies, they just go, I'm sorry. And then they let it die and then they move on.
There you go.
And the answer was no. So we're in it, you guys. Like, it can be really agitating sometimes,
The crazy thing is, it's like the tree. The higher the branches, deeper the roots, right? Expansion isn't a one-way direction. That's what, like, we forget that, oh, I want to get the highest levels of consciousness and love and this, that, and the other and escape all this stuff. No, it doesn't work that way. You expand in all directions for integration. Integration is so you stop creating the separation. So the polarity of this high and the low, you create oneness in, and you dissolve this illusion of separation, thinking that this is good and this is bad. You begin to bring presence to it all, and then you bring acceptance, and you begin to see the perfection of the yin and the yang, or the quote polarity, duality, whatever. So when you I should say, that's for the people that's on that path. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's
not
trying
everybody's
to do that.
going there.
Yeah,
It's
not
okay.
everybody's here to do that for this lifetime or whatever. But for those who are seeking that middle way, that harmony, that wonderful opting out of the suffering and the loops and the never-ending cycles of lack and all of that stuff. For those folk that are on that path, it's that integration, that expansion in both directions, right? Or all directions. And then as we do that, what I found is interesting is when you're going into the depths, you're bringing the high frequency with you, but you have to stay aligned and connected to it. So it's almost, I think of it almost like a bucket analogy, right? Like you have this bucket of energy that is heavy, and there's these buckets, and in order to discover the lesson and see the perfection, you have to stick your head in, but you keep the lifeline to the oxygen as you stick your head in. The oxygen is the higher level of consciousness, so you're breathing it in and listening as you stick your head in this heavy, dense bucket, and you go to the bottom so you can read the message at the bottom, right? And when you read the message at the bottom, that dissolves the bucket, and then it begins to allow that energy to do what it needs to do. It doesn't, like, the energy doesn't disappear, it just dissipates, so it's not stuck in creating a block. So the block dissipates and dissolves because you've read the key. Oh, boom, this is okay. That's what, but what's enabling you to read it and keep your senses is that connection to the higher level of consciousness. You bring that to the lower level, not get stuck in the lower level. A lot of people get stuck in it, triggered in it, and that's all they see. And so their entire experience is that, you know? So that's the way I've learned to navigate these blocks and bring awareness to them, is ensuring I'm staying connected to the knowing and listening to the knowing and letting that navigate versus the lower levels of consciousness that can only see about that much, right? It's like looking through you're trying to go in this bucket and all you can see is this. Well, if you expand your awareness through the breathing, through the practices that allow you to stay present with that higher level of consciousness, you can bring that in and see clearly and then get the lesson. Now what's the lesson? Well, that's for you to figure out.
Right.
It's gonna be whatever it's supposed to be from that higher level of consciousness. But to me, that undoes the coding, the block. It's almost like you need the higher level of consciousness to undo the coding or to undo the limited conditioned thinking, the conditioning. And it's like it unconditions it. It unlocks it so that it can dissipate and you're no longer running this almost like a hacker's code. Like you go in and remove the virus or remove the code. That higher level of consciousness does that work for you. Like you don't even have to do it from this level of personality. You're bringing in that amazing technology that does the work for you. But it's your job to stay aligned with it and listen to it and allow it to do its work and to kind of let go of the beliefs in your own personality and, you know.
Yeah, letting go of the beliefs in your own personality. And it's even like beyond that, because we can have soul experiences that leave those samskaras, those wounds, that those can perpetuate for lifetimes, until we're able to. It depends. If it's really painful, then it takes some time for that to heal to the place where we can accept the wisdom of it and let it go.
That's right.
And for me, I'm deeply connected with, for example, Native American, Indigenous in my heart, and had a past life with that on the Trail of Tears. And so for me, it's taken a while to move through the grief of that and to allow myself to be open to a new reality, right? So like releasing that grief. And in my meditation last night, I saw like when you look at the tree of life, it's got all of these woven strands that are like the hair that we weave from the Native American perspective. And it's just the ancestry. You could also think of it, I guess, like DNA strands, but it's this history of humanity that lives on within us.
Yeah.
And it's the pathway through which we walk to become who we are becoming. Yeah. Through the lessons, through the incarnations, and through the wisdom that comes in. And so we're not like gonna cut the hair. So we've got to be able to come to peace with all those strands.
Bingo.
All those lessons, all those experiences, without holding on to it, because it's always going to be there. Like it runs through our DNA, so it's not going anywhere. It's always going to be there for us. And we don't need to hold on to it. When we hold on to it, it creates that tension.
Yeah.
That wrong and right and judgment and blame and, you're in the story now, and it's hard to let go of. I had my own journey with that. It is very challenging to come to peace.
Yeah, that's my journey too. Many of us are. For those who walk that path of integration, we inevitably go through that reconciliation of the timelines and begin to see those lines, ancestral and the like, as the tapestry. And then we begin to expand and let go of the separation so we can see the beauty and the perfection and receive the artwork of it, right? And see the ingredients of it, like how these ingredients were necessary to birth who we are, where we are, and the opportunities we have, and the lessons we're here to experience. Like without them, it wouldn't be possible. Great example for me was the healing work I did with subconscious stuff I had suppressed as a child, things that I had experienced and forgotten about, couldn't remember childhood and all that stuff. Common story, and kind of how our psyche deals with things and compartmentalizes, and like I knew when certain topics would come up, I'd feel this emotion and want to cry, but I wasn't conscious of where it was coming from.
Mm.
And then when the topic would come up, I would just suppress, like, no, it couldn't be. Just incredible denial in an absence of conscious memory of these things. Then I finally heard to get help. And it took 3 sessions to finally lean all the way in and to allow myself to remember and see it. And it was painful, but it was like going into the bucket. But I had a lifeline. I had help, and the help was helping me listen to my knowing and bring my knowing in and have courage, like holding my hand, to be brave enough to put my head into the memory and into the energy, right? And it was excruciating, crying like, you know how like you cry and the pressure comes up, snot and all that stuff. It's that kind of experience of, I've had the same thing with the ancestral things as well. But what I'm getting at is the process isn't any different. In order to heal it, we must feel it. We must bring our presence and our awareness to it. And then as we do it, to truly heal it, it's not a healing of changing what happened. It's a healing of changing our thinking about what happened. And it shifts it. And what I was able to see is what happened that whole time. Love was with me. That whole time, it showed me the energy and the presence of the divine being part of it all. And even though those things went, I was never a victim, and I was never alone. And even though I'd suppressed and felt victimized and all this other stuff, it healed that, changed my thinking. And all of a sudden, the things that occurred, I had a pleasant feeling because love was always there for me. And I wasn't separate from it. It was the most healing thing. And now I look back at those memories I had suppressed, and it like transformed it into something beautiful. And even the individual that was involved, it transformed my seeing of that person. And to be able to forgive and to give incredible love to them, and even gratitude for what occurred. It's the weirdest thing. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I can't articulate it. All I know is now when I have it in my mind now, and I'm looking at this energy, and it's pleasant, and there's a bliss to it, which makes no sense. However, what I'm constantly told is everything is happening for us, and if we align, there is dynamic bliss. Not the bliss we think of, that's this, but whatever happens, there's a form of bliss to receive it as the oneness, because it's happening for us. And we're not the victim or the victor, we're all of it, right? And when we come in harmony with that, we begin to receive that dynamic bliss. And there's no more judgment, there's acceptance. There's no more polarity. There's seeing the perfection and the interconnectedness, the integration of it all. And so we begin to see the timelines as the tapestry, right? And we begin to expand our awareness instead of stuck in this limited conditioned misperception of what happened. It comes into harmony so we can see it from this divine level. And it just changes things. So I've had that happen with my own timeline, with my ancestry timeline, and continuing to expand, like seeing it for humanity, seeing it for all creation, seeing it in all these different ways. It's like that that experience is humbling, feels like just the most immense love, um, and grace, like setting us free from really setting us free from suffering by design because we like to suffer. That's the truth. The truth is we like to suffer, but it's all by design. And it's almost like until you've had enough of the suffering, your desire to opt out of the suffering isn't high enough because you really love to suffer. So you keep doing it. And then that desire to opt out grows and grows and grows. And this is all good. Like, this is perfect. You suffer, you suffer, you suffer, you suffer. Bing! Uh-oh, ready to get out. And so now you're looking for ways and practices to remember and wake up. Oh, shit, this is just a dream. Oh God, help me wake up. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And suddenly, it starts to happen for you. And the relief, relief is tremendous, and you have compassion because you know what it's like to forget. You know what it's like to believe in the nightmare, and you know what I'm saying, and not remember that there's a way out. And I think that compassion is what allows you to be present with others suffering in a way that doesn't amplify suffering but brings peace. You bring that lifeline, you bring that light, that alignment, that presence, and you're able to emanate that so that it brings harmony in the presence of suffering. And you remind others, like that light, that embodiment, that integration reminds others, kind of like you're glowing like a puzzle piece, and then their edges start to glow, the resonance, because it's in
Yeah.
them too. And then
Yeah,
they're
it's
like,
a
oh snap.
frequency. It's really
Exactly.
about creating these pockets of coherence
Bingo.
and then just keep like expanding those pockets of coherence until the frequency lifts to such a place as like it's just so hard to resist it that you just kind of fall into it. I
And
feel like,
riding the waves, right?
yeah, because one of my teachers, Alberto Vialdo, he said that the shadow doesn't have any real power of its own. It only has the power that we give it.
Bingo.
But like the power that we give it is important for a while because almost like that walk through the valley of the shadow of death, kind of experience we've been having the last couple of thousand years. That actually is, in a way, it's really important because you have to know what you don't want before you can really figure out what you do want. It's almost like the opposite, right? You've got to experience what you really don't want and learn from those things. So you learn your lessons about how to stop creating that, and then you get to ask, what do I want? Well, that's the next part that I feel like we're heading into in New Earth is like, how much could I expand my imagination based on what I know? Because I'm not leaving my wisdom behind. My ancestry is right with me. But I'm also not going to be constrained by what happened in the dark night because I know that the sun is here. And so we can choose anything, like anything is possible is what Hummingbird says.
Yeah.
So it teaches us anything is possible. This little bird like migrates from South America to North America with like, has to eat every 10 minutes or something. And it somehow makes it, finds the food. How does it do that? Because anything is possible. So we get to create anything, but in order to see the potential, we've got to heal from the shadows and the things that we are still holding on to,
Yeah.
that were just, like you said, part of the tapestry of our collective creation up until now.
Yeah.
But we don't have to stay here.
Bingo.
And I think so many of us are ready to move on, but we've got a segment that's still tussling about in it. And that part for me feels like, and it triggers the impatience, because I have That's what I was told last night in my contemplation. It's like, there's your impatience. And I'm like, can't we just let that wolf cub die? It's really dead anyway. Like, so move on. Come on.
Right,
Like,
right.
not everything's going to survive. Like, this is the lesson of nature. But I was like, no, we can't. Like,
Yeah.
And it was, and my ancestry also felt, I felt a lot of like, just like, how much longer kind of energy, and because I mean, it is a dark night. It's been very long. And those of us who have been holding space for this are tired.
Yeah. And you know where I think the exhaustion often comes from our resistance though. Not just the resistance, but meaning because I feel it too. Like oftentimes I will get to the place where I am, oh, well, perfect example. Woke up this morning. I followed my guidance last night, what to eat, different things like that, and woke up this morning and I had this feeling in my body like there was like toxins all throughout my body, into my mind. My eyes were a little red, and I was like, man, something I ingested did not have a great experience, and I could feel it in my veins, and just felt kind of like I was on fire, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm not enjoying this. So I'm immediately going into my meditation, do my practice, and finally, once I'm done, I'm hearing to go drink baking soda and water. I drink a teaspoon of water and baking soda. Then I have my typical thing is water, key lime juice, and sea salt, coarse sea salt, and I mix that up and drink. So I drank that second, and then I had my sea moss tea, which is a yummy concoction, right? But all that to say, within 5 to 10 minutes, I was feeling great, and of course, I was expelling what needed to be expelled. um, but I was back, and I'm just listening to what's mine to do and how to navigate it. Now, had I not been tuning in and listening what's mine to do, it might have been a more challenging thing where I'm resisting this feeling like, crap, I followed what you told me to do last night. I listened to my why. Why is it like this? Why? And I'll be exhausted. I didn't want to get up. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired. I'm feeling my eyes are puffy. I'm like, what's going on? But I think that ability to trust and know that all is well, when we apply that to whatever life is bringing and we tune in and listen, it stops the resistance, the judgment, and stops the wasting of energy, right? And then it leads us into harmony and how to navigate what's happening in a way that's not a threat, in a way that accepts it to be exactly as it should be, even if we don't understand. And then sometimes we can seek that understanding, like to see from this higher level of, okay, well, if everything is for us, how the hell is that for us? I remember way back when there was some beheading, and I was just learning how to tune in and bring through higher levels of consciousness, right? And I'm like, for 3 years, I'm answering questions. I'm anonymously. My wife and I are doing this website called AskRealityLove.com. It's gone now, but for 3 years, we were anonymously asking people's questions, answering questions rather, by aligning with the source of life and asking and getting all these teachings, right? So we'd send it to them. Nobody knew who we were. And I remember when this beheading of a photographer happened or something, and there were some wars going on at the time. And I'm hearing all this like, all is well and always is. And I'm like, okay, we got to talk.
Yeah.
Like, this to me does not look like all is well and always is. This is tragic. How are you telling me all is well and always is? Like, what the Sam Hill is going on? I think this was after 9/11 even. Sometime after, actually years after. So I was kind of referencing 9/11, referencing all these things. I'm like, when people get, murdered and molestations and all this crazy crap, how can you say all is well and always? My ego was like, hell no, I'm not accepting that. That's bogus. But I'm tuning in and sincerely wanting to understand. And two things happened. The first was the explanation or realization that I don't know what happens in those situations, in the midst of the beheading, in the midst of the tower crumbling, in the midst of, it was even showing me this plane that was exploding and being there, and like what happens. Like I was being shown these things, and I'm being shown that I don't know what's really going on, and that there is no separation, and that what happens with spirit when these things happen, and all this stuff. So it was just showing me that I had a lot of assumptions. It was uncoupling the assumptions to help me understand love is never like all of a sudden absent and disappears, right? And oh, when people are going through this, all they've experienced is suffering, and there's an absence of love now, and love has disappeared, and this evil has conquered love, and this, that, and the other. That's just naive ignorance. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about and believing in. I'm believing in this separation that's just not true. And so when these things happen, it first showed me that some of the things that take place during these times, but then was also showing me that this was designed in many ways. But even at this highest level, these things are designed, from the beheadings to the most evil thing you can think of. There is something going on. And yes, there are nefarious forces, but these nefarious forces are part of our consciousness, part of all consciousness, which is oneness. So you can't separate, oh, nefarious and benevolent. You know, it's like it's all part of our consciousness. So it's showing me all of this, and then leading me to recognize, unless I align with that oneness, I'll never harmonize. I'll never see the perfection. Unless I surrender this egoic demanding of it being another way and I know better, you know, unless I let go of that ignorance and release that adamant belief, then I won't see. And so I asked for help. I was like, I don't know how to release this. Help me. Help me release this belief in this polarity. And see, I kid you not, it was like a rug being pulled out of my body, out of my being, out of my energy, just got yanked out. And ever since then, I've never believed in evil anymore. I believe in nefariousness, but the judgment of evil, I just don't believe in it, because God said, yes, we have nefarious and we have benevolent and all of that, but it's all one. There isn't truly no evil. That's a human construct to create judgment and separation, good and evil, right? And a polarity that we believe in, and thus we create this division and this dividing line that doesn't really exist. And because of that, does that mean, okay, if there's no evil now, well, then anything can happen and everything's okay? Well, it already does. You know, like, if you could control stopping that, that'd be great, but you really can't. All you can control is how you think about it and where you access the level of consciousness that you invest your belief in, so that you can navigate it. And once you give up the belief in that polarity, it stops being as exhausting, because now you're in harmony with it. You're flowing with it. You're seeing it. And it's not that it goes away. You just transcend the suffering of it. And almost like, okay, I want to get rid of horror movies. They're wrong. This, that, and the other. They're evil. And this, that, and the other. Okay, well, you can fight that genre, but it still exists, right? It's existed throughout time. And you only like comedy and rom-coms, right? and you damn everything else. Okay, well, if you navigate that way, what ends up happening is you create this separation, and you don't see the perfection of it all. And you believe that only this is real, and that is wrong and unreal, and therefore you create this fraction of suffering, and you don't get to receive the harmony and the balance. So you're disrupting your own experience. And as soon as you wake up and say, oh, they're all just movies, they're all just genres, like every action, because the reality is there's only one this here. It's all a freaking movie. We take it so seriously. We take it so, we believe so adamantly how real it is. The ego believes it's all so real. But when we wake up and realize it's just a movie, now we can navigate to any genre we want without the suffering. and enjoy it and see the beauty and the art of it, be like, oh, okay, I never really had to stay where I was. That was just for a time. So anyway, that was a lot.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. The only thing I would add to that is that sometimes when we get to that awareness, we sort of retreat from the world in a way, right? Like go, well, what's the point of doing anything if it's all just not real anyway? And these things are just going to exist anyway. And I can't really do anything about it anyway. And I see a lot of spiritual people getting like caught in that little eddy. And I feel like that's not the point. The point is to contribute your voice, your energy, your love, your heart, your creativity in whatever way your soul feels inspired to, to create on this tapestry of humanity. Like that actually is really important, because without your voice, without your love, without your generosity, without your creations, it could be that, people don't realize there is another alternative to horror movie.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
right? Like, so it is important to get involved and to contribute your voice and your energy and your love and your guidance and your presence. And also, I think that for me, I've noticed when I do that, it gives me that opportunity to see even more deeply, like, where am I still, exhausted? Where am I still, right? Like you're saying, like in resistance to this particular energetic existing.
Bingo.
I think this is why Mother Teresa said she's never against anything. She's only for what she's for.
Yep.
And I think that's really good advice. It's like, be for what you're for. Be for it, go for it, be it, shine it, sing it, create it. And then
That's the energy between the difference between and resistance and fulfillment. What you're for is an energy of fulfillment. It brings you alive. It's like your passion, It's this gratitude frequency and all of this stuff. Totally different than lack and judgment and resistance and all that. Just so that quality of action, thinking, and investment of time and energy, that creates a different experience, a fulfilling experience.
And like you said, like when you can do both, like when you can go down into the shadows, like it hooks your attention and you go, okay, I'm going to bring my presence to this. And you go down and you're looking at it, and I like to think about like taking a bucket of it and lifting it to the upper room and going, let's sort the wheat from the chaff here. Like, what is this actually, like sifting it, to get the gold out? Like putting my pan down there, scooping it up and going, okay, where's the gold?
You got to keep bringing the water in.
Right? You got to keep, right? And then you find, it's like, okay, I'll keep that gold. And then that gives me the wisdom to know how to, like, because again, I'm sorting what I don't want from many lifetimes, right? Many experiences. This is no longer what I choose. What do I want? We get to do both. We get to say what I don't want anymore, I'm done. And what do I do want? And that's the fire ceremony and the water ceremony. It's like, what do I want? What do I not want?
That's it.
We get to choose.
You're so right. That clarity is part of the design, like the celestial blueprint, where we choose your own adventure. We've already chosen our own adventure from the celestial blueprint side of things. And now we're down in the adventure, choosing at this other level, just like you said, of experiencing the contrast, developing the desire, and then creating the clarity, like you just talked about. That clarity, I have maintained, I believe, brings us to the knowing. There's a difference. Some people think that, oh, if you only have faith the size of a mustard seed, you'll move a mountain. I believe the faith that's the size of the mustard seed is the knowing. It's not just the belief. The belief, I believe, can have you going the wrong direction, or be in alignment with the knowing. It can be either. However, the clarity that comes from looking at the contrast, knowing what we don't want and what we do and don't want, that's aligning us with the knowing. Someone called it the soul's knowing recently. I was like, oh, I like that. The soul's knowing. When we get in alignment with that clarity, we activate something that I've seen happen. Quick story. After dating a lot and having a lot of crash and burns, I remember the day on 7/9, July 9th, 2003. I was writing in my journal, and I was writing the things I liked and the things I didn't like about all my relationships. Because I was just like, I'd learned the Benjamin Franklin method. That's what they call it, pros and cons. But a better name for it is pros and cons method. In the military, they taught me how to do this, right? And so I'm doing it. I'm like, what do I like about those relationships? What do I want next? I don't like these things. Intuitively, I looked at the don't like list and I did the opposite. What's the opposite of each of these things? Like, for example, I don't want to be in a relationship where my partner or the girl is an alcoholic. What's the opposite of that? Oh, self-control and has some wisdom when it comes to substances, right? That's what I want, somebody like that. Okay, what's the opposite of volatility? Don't like this volatile experience in relation. Oh, stability and the ability to communicate with respect. I got clear on all these things, and I had this master list: things I like, the opposite of things I don't like, so more things I like. And at the end of it, I was like, I wish it could happen the way I believed when I was a child, that time would stop, the angels would sing, and it would just be this vortex of love, and their soul would speak to me. And I'd even written a song about that. I had a dream about that, right? Wish it could happen like that. But that'll never happen. Put the paper away. 3 days later, that's exactly what happened. And that was 22 years ago, and I'm still married to her now. and it was amazing that I didn't have belief, but I had clarity. In fact, I believed the opposite, that it would never happen. Where was my faith the size of a mustard seed? The fact that I got clear. That was it. And I aligned with the knowing to see it and bring it conscious, activated this power that overcame my disbelief and made it happen 3 days later. That to me speaks to what you just said about our ability to choose and get clear. If we just get clear, know what we want, what we don't want, there's a power that honors that. It's also in the book Think and Grow Rich that inspired the movie The Secret. To the degree to which we can get clear, the universe responds. And if we do that work, that clarity will serve us in ways we wouldn't even imagine. So I'm complete.
I love that. Yeah. And it's because it's a clear signal. There's no distortion, right? That's why, because it's all sound. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing all that. I know that you sometimes offer some songwriting workshops. I don't know if that's always going on, or if you have some other way for people to connect with you to get started learning about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So on my site, johnstringerinc.com, you'll see there's a June, about twice a year, I'm doing this 5-day Unlock Your Songwriting Genius Challenge. It just shows people how to tune into that higher level of consciousness and let that do the work versus the analytical, long process that I've participated in, many people choose. I love the easy way, unlocking your genius and letting that write the song. And sometimes you'll just receive the whole thing. It's like, that's my preference. And so I teach people how to do that on demand. And it's once you know the structure, there's still some structure and things in it that you bring the genius into. But once you've done that, like with the clarity, the intention, and all of that, and the awareness, then it can write the song for you, make it so much easier at that higher level. So I teach people how to do that, and you can apply those same things to your life. Like, it's the same practice I use every morning to ask what's mine to do, what's mine to know, what's mine to affirm, and what's mine to visualize. Every morning I do this exercise, right? So you're writing the song of your life, or you can just write the song that you're gonna sing, right? And you don't have to know how to sing. You don't have to have any prior experience. So I had about 24 students in the last one. One of the students wrote 7 songs. Another one wrote a song she'd been struggling with for 10 years, completed it. Another guy wrote a amazing song. Anyway, long story short, it works and it's powerful, but it's some work. But it's ridiculously dirt cheap. I give a lot of value for price of less than a coffee a day type thing.
Oh, wow.
So
Thank
that's
you.
one way. The other way I do guidance sessions and assist people in really aligning and hearing from that higher level what their celestial blueprint is saying for them today, what the source of life is wants to bring through, and often invite their guides to participate, assist them, and then I do coaching. Those are like the one-off sessions are like if somebody's struggling with something or just wants clarity, and they get to choose their own price. They can even do it for free as it stands now. They can put zero in as the price. So those are the one-offs, and then the coaching works a little differently. But yeah, that's ways people can connect. The other site is healingartsmgmt.com. That's where we do all our events, our retreats, things like that.
Beautiful. I'll put this links in the show notes, everybody, so you can go check out John. Thank you so much for this beautiful conversation and the transmissions that you shared with us. So
Thank
grateful.
you.
And
Great
I like
conversation
to
with you.
definitely everybody like share it out. If you got something from this, share it with people that you think might benefit from what we talked about today. And don't be shy. If you feel inspired, share it out.
Yes, yeah.
And it's all good. If you feel inspired, do it. And we're going to now do kisses because that's how we end our shows. I give Reiki kisses. If you want to help with me, you can do it with me, John, but it's up to you. So here they come, everybody. We love you. We love you. We love you. Mwah.
Love that.
And we'll see you next week on Soul Nectar Show, everybody. Bye for now. If you found even one gold nugget in this episode of Soul Nectar Show, will you do us a favor? Will you subscribe, like, and share this episode? Maybe even write a comment and let us know what you thought about it. We really, really want to engage with you at a much deeper level. Let's be part of community together. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now. To dive in deeper to nourishing conversation, visit soulnectar.show.
Soul Nectar Show. Awaken, awake, Nectar Show. Take a sip from the drip of nectar from the source of who you are.